Let's start with these characteristics of this hunter salesperson. Scott and I have talked about that kind of idea before, but be curious to see from your standpoint, what does this person look like?
Sure. Well, there are really three key non-teachables that we found. And by way of background, got started over 20 years ago now, researching everything that had been published on this topic academically. That's the basis of the research that we did. Everything that had been published on the idea of what is it that makes a successful salesperson. And at the same time, I was working in terms of interviewing at a firm um, that focused on leadership development. And I was interviewing sales candidates and then circling back with their managers thereafter to find out who really does become successful.
Mm.
And when I looked at all of that data, I found that, again, many of the classic characteristics that people think would be important are still important, teachable things like, again, relationship skills, organization, persuasiveness. But time and again, there are these three non-teachable characteristics that are standing out to differentiate the highest performers. The first one is what we call the need for achievement. And when we talk about the need for achievement in a salesperson, we're talking about the person who wants to do well simply for the sake of doing well. So that salesperson who's high in need for achievement, they just naturally want to set the bar high, if you will. They want to jump over that. Then they want to set it even higher again the next time. So they're constantly focused on producing excellence simply for the sake of excellence. Think of, for example, the kid in school who just has to get an A, the person who's going to be an effective entrepreneur who has to get up every morning and make it happen, and there's nobody standing over them watching them. So that's the first piece, need for achievement. The second piece is competitiveness. And the competitive salesperson we find really wants to do two things. Number one, they want to be the best in their team. They're always comparing their performance to their peers because they just need to know how they stack up, if you will, relative to the group. And number two, they want to win that prospect or that customer or that client over to their point of view. Because to them, psychologically, that sale is kind of like a contest of wills. And then the third piece is optimism. And that's the salesperson's sense of certainty that they will succeed, as well as, of course, their resilience to remain persistent when they face the inevitable difficulty and challenge and rejection that a salesperson simply has to deal with. So we find it's those three characteristics all together, need for achievement, competitiveness, and optimism, that psychologically create sort of the perfect storm, if you will. And collectively, we refer to those three characteristics as drive.